Many thanks again for staying with us on the live coverage of the 2019 election, the live studios of independent television and radio. Of course, just like Philip told you, we'll be taking live feeds from reporters and correspondents from across the country just to give you a national outlook of the conduct of the election. Well, I'm left with Austin Osakwe and Reverend Olu Martin. Gentlemen, once again, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
While we're expecting some of the calls to come in, there's something that has been of great concern, which is that in Nigeria and in Africa, the things that sway votes are quite different from what sways votes in other climes, particularly in the developed democracies of this world, in Europe and America, maybe Asia. Austin, let's take off from that point.
Yeah, it's not far-fetched. The pattern of voting in any society is a reflection of the level of development of that society. When you are campaigning, you appeal to the needs, the immediate needs of the people. Down here, our needs are still how to have the roads, how to get water to drink.
Very pedestrian.
These are a reflection of our present level of development.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Austin Osakwe, but we have Agboje Ikworia. Agboje Ikworia is joining us live from Owan Axis of the state. Agboje, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Where are you exactly? Where are you calling us from?
Thank you, Sonny. Right now, we've just entered Owan West, trying to go through Owan West to see the situation. We have just left Owan East. But at Owan East, we went to Ward 1 just now, Ward 1, Unit 1 and 2. That's Tayo Akpata University of Education in Apuze, where voting was going on peacefully.
Okay.
But from there, we just left there, went to, while we were just driving around the town, we got to a place where we saw a market where traders were on the ground trying to do business and all that, saying that they have finished voting at this time. So they decided to come back to open up the market so that they can get what to eat. Immediately after the market, there's a polling unit at St. James Grammar School, where precisely as I speak with you right now, voters have absconded. They are trying to scramble for safety because some alleged thugs invaded the polling unit at St. James Grammar School, and they started tearing the ballot papers, and voters, right as I speak with you, have dispatched that polling unit. They are all running home. White Corps members are trying to hide for safety, returning back to their respective offices.
That unit that you mentioned, what's the level of security presence?
At the time when we saw voters, eligible voters running for safety, we didn't actually see security officials on the ground right there.
All right, Agboje Ikworia, thank you. We'll keep tabs with you and get more from you in the course of the program.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay. Yeah, Austin, I wanted to give that background, but it looks like Edda said, you just go ahead and then look at the issues that are coming up. Maybe we'll talk about that much later, about a new development.
Agboje's report,
yeah.
I'm sorry to say, is a deviation from
the trend.
The trend. We have been expressing so much joy that, you know, there is peace and things are orderly, in spite of the hiccups here and there, which largely flowed not from the people, but from the limited level of preparedness of INEC. This is sad. In midst of security, with over 300,000 policemen mobilized. On our way here, I came with my brother, Reverend Olu Martins. Well, there are several checkpoints. The military is also involved. We saw a clear presence of the military. And yet, if you know St. James should be, it's a very large school. St. James
and visible too.
Very visible.
So you have some presence.
So even if you are not going to have security elsewhere, we expected security at that venue. I'm surprised that thugs could invade the place, voters scampered into hiding, and then they took materials. But brazenly, by that report, they were tearing vandalizing
the
ballot papers in full glare at this time of the day. I think that the INEC resident electoral commissioner in the state must immediately get into contact with INEC officials on ground there and with the security deployed to that area. It's a deviation. It puts very cold water on the manner in which we have been feeling and seeing things. It's not good at all.
Reverend Lomartin, this seems to be the height of some of the anomalies that we've seen in the conduct of the election so far. Yeah, you want to add the voice to that?
Yes, perhaps to add that thugs are sent and perhaps successful in an area where they consider.
I'll bring you in, Reverend Lomartin. We have Isa Hassan Jarawa, is a journalist from Bauchi State, giving us live situation report from Bauchi State. Isa, good afternoon. Thanks for joining our live studio coverage.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Okay, what's the situation in Bauchi State, specifically the areas you're monitoring or you're covering?
At the moment, I'm covering the Independent National Electoral Commissioner. We are together now with him. He's going around some, voting points, monitoring election. At the moment now, we have just left a voting point in a place called Yalwam Makaranta, inside Bauchi Metropolis, and so far, so good. In almost 10 minutes that we have visited, there's no problem. Voting are going on smoothly without any leak.
What's the level of security in some of the areas that you monitor with INEC resident electoral commissioner in Bauchi State?
I think there's one only place that maybe concerned of lack of security. That is one area called Nasarawa. Particularly, the complaint of security, but in almost all the places we have visited, there are a number of security, there. So the security is very tight.
When you say everything is going on smoothly, are you in any way also talking about arrival of materials, the materials that were brought to some of the voting centers that you and the resident electoral commissioner visited?
In all the places we visited, there were no complaint of arrival of materials. The materials arrive, as scheduled. So no complaint of shortage.
All right, Isa Hassan Jarawa, many thanks for joining us on our live studio coverage of the 2019 elections on independent television and radio Benin. I'm thanking you for joining us. We'll keep tabs with you so we can get more updates from you subsequently.
Yes, maybe as the day is moving, there could be updates because I will be commissioner and I know a lot of things will continue coming.
Oh, definitely. We'll keep tabs with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Isa Hassan Jarawa is a journalist with the resident electoral commissioner in Bauchi State, giving us live situation report there. Some cherry news there. I mean, voters are going on with their business normally, voting, accreditation, everything going on smoothly. No complaints of late arrival of materials like we have in some parts of Edo State, Lomartin.
Yes. I was going to say that with the statement of Mr. President, where he said he had given the security operatives strict instructions to be ruthless. On my way out, my wife wanted to give me a lunch box. I said, no box. I don't want any box. Anything that box, I don't want any box. So I quickly I don't want any box. Now, I'm saying so because for those who went to that Onwa East, they must have asked questions. They must have surveyed. Because with the statement of Mr. President, anybody would be apprehensive. But they must have known that there is low security turnout. In fact, they must have known that there is no military presence around that area for them to come out and carry, because they couldn't have gone there armless. They would have gone with different kinds of weapons, whatever the weapons are. So we must also use this ITV platform to alert the Commissioner of Police in charge of INEC operations and the operatives in charge of Onwa there, apparently Onwa East, on what is happening in St. James.
All right, so we have another journalist from Zamfara State, Abubakar Ahmed. Abubakar Ahmed, many thanks for joining our live studio coverage of the elections on independent television and radio. Benin. Good afternoon, Ahmed.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm good. Tell us, what can you bring us up to speed with in terms of the conduct of the polls so far in Zamfara State?
Yeah, as we are talking now, you know that there has 14 local government areas. I'm in one of the local government areas where elections are taking place. In one primary school where they centered about 7 to 10 polling units in the local government, which is about 20 kilometers from the state capital. At the moment, people have started casting their votes, but there was a delay in the morning. As election materials were not available. The electoral officers could not bring the election materials up around 10 o'clock. But as of around 10:30 or thereabout, the election materials started arriving the polling units, the polling centers. And as it is now, people have started lining up and have started casting their votes.
So what can you say generally about the conduct of the election in the areas that you're monitoring?
Yeah, so far I was in the state capital and some of the villages around. Yeah. And like I said, I'm now in Bungudu. And I have received reports from some of my reporters that have gone to Kaura Namoda and Talata Bafara, the governors on state. Okay. And they said so far too, they have faced, the people there have faced the late arrival problem of late arrival of election materials. But just a short while ago, not quite more than an hour, they reported telling me that elections have started. People have started casting their votes.
Were you able to deduce what's the rationale behind the late arrival of materials against the background that this election was postponed by a week and INEC gave the assurances that they were ready, materials ready, everything ready?
Yeah, as of yesterday, INEC assured us that they had distributed their materials to all the locations where they were supposed to. But you know, when INEC said they have distributed their materials, my thinking is it means they have taken the materials to the local government areas. But maybe the delay is now from the INEC officials at the local government level, who are in charge of the distribution from the local government. I believe that may have formed part of the reason for the delay.
Okay, Ahmed, just on the final note, Zamfara State has also been a hotbed for security challenges in some states. Yes. What can you tell us about security challenges in those areas that have been flashpoints in terms of the conduct of this election?
Like I said earlier, Zamfara, to every journalist, let me start with the journalist. Okay. To every journalist, Zamfara can be said to be the worst hit by banditry. But INEC said of the 14 local government areas in the state, only 2 have not been devastated by bandit activity. So the security situation is also there. The only change, or the only effort that the INEC has made in collaboration with security men is that they have identified some places that are worst hit in the affected areas. In the affected areas, which means INEC to now seek the cooperation of security men and the security now selected some places where they consider to be safer for the worst hit community, so that they will come and gather in that place, and then their electoral officers will conduct the elections at such places.
Okay, what's the mood generally in Zamfara State against the background that just yesterday there's an appeal court paving the way for the ruling party to feed candidates in the governorship and National Assembly elections and other elections in that state?
Yeah. The information just came, like you said, just came yesterday. And when the news came, we quickly went and found out how people received the information. The government, as it is happy with the development, because all along the governor has even at a point threatened that if they were not allowed into the elections, then they will not guarantee the safety of lives and property of people for the elections. But with this, people now became rest assured that the elections will take place, and they came out. Then we also met some of the opposition parties to find their reactions over the inclusion of the APC, because the INEC also released a press statement that they have now included APC on the list for National Assembly and governorship, as well as House of Assembly elections. So the opposition parties said they have, particularly the main opposition, which is PDP, said they are happy with the development because it will now give them the opportunity to test the ground, to see their supporters, in the state and how the party is going to fare during the election.
All right, Ahmed, thank you for your time. We'll keep tabs with you and get more updates as we get along on the program. Thank you very much.
It's all right. Okay, you're welcome.
Abubakar Ahmed is a journalist from Zamfara State, giving us situation report from that state, particularly with the recent development just yesterday on the ruling party in that state's participation in the National Assembly governorship election, as well as the State House of Assembly election. But something quite striking that came out from Abubakar Ahmed is that the state governor of Zamfara State had threatened that if they are not included in the election, then there won't be a peaceful atmosphere for the conduct of the election. That, I don't know if it's connected with the appeal court judgment, but let's get Olu Martins in first.
I think it's coincidental. And we must state very clearly that nobody can hold Nigeria ransom. The decisions hitherto of the lower court to exclude them had nothing to do with the opposition party. It was an internal crisis that the party had in APC. You remember that same governor had threatened once that the national chairman of the APC entered into Zamfara State. They said, the army once said, I can guarantee you freedom of speech, but freedom after speech, I cannot tell. He had told the man that I can guarantee that you will enter, but whether you will leave is another ball game entirely. So he appears to be one of those individuals who make statements that heighten tension in the land, and that should be condemned in its entirety. He's lucky that the appeal court has made a statement. Otherwise,
all right, thank you. Thank you. We've got Friday Dewan, is a journalist covering Southern Senatorial Zone, Plateau State. Friday, many thanks for joining the live studios of ITV Radio Benin on the 2019 election. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you very much.
Okay, so tell us, what's the outlook generally in Plateau State for this election?
Well, I will rather prefer to speak about my area of coverage, which involves 4 local government areas in the Southern Senatorial Zone of the state. Okay. So far, we've been able to visit about 18 polling units in the 4 local government areas that we've been to. And generally speaking, the exercise has been very, very peaceful and well coordinated. We don't have any issue of security challenge. All sensitive and non-sensitive materials that are supposed to have been provided by INEC officials has been done since yesterday evening. And as early as 8 o'clock this morning, accreditation and voting commenced in virtually every polling unit that we went to. With the exception that we witnessed a few challenges in some areas with the card readers, and it's largely due to the inability of the INEC officials to really manipulate these machines. But we've been able to draw the attention of INEC officials, their technicians to the issues, and they promptly attended to them. And as at about 8:30 to 9 o'clock, voting has commenced in earnest in virtually all the polling units that we went to.
Okay, I just wanted to find out if in any way one of the areas you're covering has had a history of security challenge, like we know has been a major issue, a major talking point with Plateau State in recent times.
Okay, I must tell you that there is nothing like that. I agree with you that Plateau State has for some time been engulfed in crisis, but I think the people they are outgrowing that kind of situation as with our elders and other stakeholders in the state have been trying the much possible to make sure that they work on the psyche of the people, to understand that nothing is more important than peaceful coexistence. So wherever we went to, we discovered that honestly, the security people posted to these various places had no work to do. They were seated under the trees, and they have no work to do.
Okay.
As people were well behaved.
Okay.
And they had in fact there is no any cause for alarm.
All right, thank you very much, Friday Dewan, live from Plateau State, specifically Southern Senatorial Zone, Plateau State. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We've been talking with Friday Dewan, journalist covering Southern Senatorial Zone of Plateau State, telling us the situation in Plateau State is calm. Literally, security men don't have anything to do, which means that everywhere is peaceful, particularly in the Southern Senatorial Zone that is covering. But we just have this report coming in from an eyewitness reporter in Ward 3, Unit 11, Ego local government. It says INEC officials didn't come until 9:25 a.m. Voting started by 9:45 a.m. Well, thank God that's on course. Besides their late coming, I observed that most of the rules mentioned by Professor Yakubu are not being followed. For example, the specified distance from the voting cubicle. However, voting is going well, and no open financial inducement, but there is financial inducement. If I could just extrapolate that statement a little bit, I also feel that voters' education was not adequate. Almost all the women were asking several party agents who they should vote for. And you know what that means to our democracy. Those women must have been promised money secretly, just like one guy alleged that one agent of a party was promising the women 1,000 naira if they will vote their party. But one thing I know is that no agent was allowed to see who they actually voted. Well, that's some cherry news. Comrade, you want to share some of the issues
yes,
that are on the front burner right now?
Yes, we had mentioned that it's not going to be easy to chase away the ghost of vote buying. It's going to be there for some time. But, there's been a lot of sensitization, asking people not to sell their vote, making them understand the implications of selling their vote as far as their future is concerned, being told that that money you are receiving for the vote is the opportunity cost for the roads that you're going to get, the water, the electricity, the education, the health, and all of that. So that is catching on. But one thing that we must mention, in the 3 or 4 reports that we have gotten about vote buying, they all seem to be pointing in the direction of women and those who are advanced in age. which again brings to the fore the issue of poverty as a cause. You know,
vote buying.
Yes, you know, all this why people just dismiss. They say it's ignorance, and I say yes. I've said a number of times here, yeah, yes. While I agree that it is ignorance is a factor, poverty is even much more a factor, especially when the argument that these women will present to you is that whoever they vote for anyway, their situation is not going to change on Monday morning.
Absolutely.
Neither is it going to change next year. So their own part of this Commonwealth, their own democratic dividend, so to say, is the one they can get in the now, because they have a saying in their place that a bird in hand is worth 20 in the bush. So poverty is a factor. Yeah. And again, it's going to take time. Voter education, political education, and as things also improve economically, people will tend to now see that, look, this 2,000 really is nothing.
Yeah.
But for now, it is something.
Okay, I wanted you to also comment on the earlier report by Ahmed from Zamfara State, where the governor had threatened that if he's not part of the election, there won't be peace in that state. The election will not hold in that state. And I was saying that, is there in any way that has helped to throw up the Court of Appeal ruling? But he quickly came up to say it was just a mere coincidence. But the language.
But I'll tell you this. Yes, the language doesn't surprise me. Our system, our political system, throws up the worst amongst us. That's the truth. Campaign is no longer on. But they say, a young man who impressed me so much in the debates leading to the presidential election. Young man, you know, somewhere. In all of these debates, he came across to me as refined, disciplined, and his understanding of the issues facing Nigeria were so much on point. And I was telling people at home around me that even though I know this guy is never going to be able to win because the structures are not there,
yeah,
but he has earned my vote.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter. Somebody say, look, you are going to waste the vote. I say, it's mine, it's not yours. So the point I'm making is that our system does not throw up the very best amongst us. So when you hear such language being deployed by politicians, especially from that axis of the country, it doesn't really surprise me. Number two is that, please, the voting today must take cognizance of the fact that there is a Supreme Court. The case didn't start in the Court of Appeal. The case started at the High Court.
Yeah.
Those who went to the High Court are likely to go to the Supreme Court. So it's not time to beat their chest and say we've got it. But it is good that INEC had this backup plan, so that when the court eventually pronounced, you are not seen to have, you know,
you're not caught napping.
Exactly. So they made those arrangements. Going back to the issue of vote buying. Vote buying, again, is made possible by the poor infrastructure that fails to guarantee the Electoral Act position of open secret ballot. Because the truth of the matter is that if the buyer is not sure that he will get value for money, he won't throw the money away. Yeah. So it is because he is sure that when he spends the money, he will get value for money. If you give me money and you are not sure who I eventually vote for, I go into the cubicle, I look at the money and say, thank God, not my that idiot. Do you understand? And I vote wherever I want to vote. You will, if it doesn't work for you now, you will stop in the next election.
Absolutely.
But that's again why they are zeroing in on poor people, people who are not so much educated, people who are vulnerable. Because in our work, we say children and women are vulnerable. Women carry a lot of load in the home. In leaving home today, they may not even know those contesting. They may not even know which office is being contested for. But somebody has whistled in their ear that instead of staying at home, go 1,000, 2,000 in our people's parlance at all. Not bad.
Okay, we've got this report from Osaze Omogiate. Conduct of election is going on peacefully at Oluku Primary School of your Northeast local government, even though the process is slow. I'm sure the people will be patient enough for them to go through the whole hog so we can get that come to logical conclusion. Just to remind you, by the way, that if you're still at any of the polling centers and you want to give us live report of what's happening where you are, you can do that via WhatsApp through videos and pictures. You have the number on the screen. You can send your videos to that number, and then you can also send your message to that number. We'll read them here just to alert the authorities in charge so that they can do something about it. The number is 0803 8726 759. 0803 8726 759. And for the third time, 0803 8726 759. Send your videos, send your pictures, send your messages to that number on WhatsApp only. Our studio line will be on the screen just in case you also want to call and contribute to our conversation. You're very free to do that. But as you know, do not make spurious allegation and unfounded statements that really will not augur well for all of us.